Hello, I'm David. Welcome to our channel.
Hello, I'm Sophia too. I'm happy to be at your service today, my dears.
Today we're going to go deep into film and cinema.
Yes, we are.
Specifically, we're taking a deep dive into a film called Heretic. It's from A24.
Okay. And Heretic, I've heard a lot about this one. People are saying it's like really fascinating and an emotionally rich horror experience. Seems like it really stands out.
It absolutely does. Stands out sharply, I'd say, in what's become a very crowded genre.
Yeah, right. So our mission today, let's say, is to kind of unpack what makes Heretic tick structurally. Why is it so brilliant? And why is its central conflict, which sounds pretty challenging, so
Yeah.
compelling.
Okay, yeah. To get that, you have to look at the team first. It's written and directed by Scott Beck and Bryan Woods.
Oh, Beck and Woods. Okay, A Quiet Place. Huh.
Exactly. The Boogeyman, 65. They have a real knack for tension, often in these, like, isolated settings.
Definitely. And the cast. This is where it gets really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. That's the core trio.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Hugh Grant. In an A24 horror film, that's the immediate hook, right?
Totally unexpected. I mean, Mr. Romantic Comedy himself.
Right. That's the starting point for this whole thing. The fact that Hugh Grant is starring
Yeah.
is probably the biggest initial talking point.
So how do they use him? Because his whole screen persona is charm, wit.
And that's the genius of it. Beck and Woods use exactly that persona. Decades of it. His character is instantly likable, very charismatic, almost warm, you could say.
Which sounds horrifyingly effective for a horror movie.
Oh, it is. Because that charm, that wit we associate with him from all those lighter films,
Yeah.
it's all there. But it's masking something. Well, something really compellingly evil.
So it's not just charm, it's weaponized charm.
Perfectly put. It's disarming. He
Yeah.
pulls you in, makes you feel comfortable. Almost, even while he's setting up this terrifying situation, it makes the horror hit so much harder because it comes from someone you're conditioned to find, well, charming.
Yeah, I've heard that the best villains, they aren't just evil for evil's sake. They have their own logic. They think they're right.
Exactly. And this film nails that nuance. He's terrifying, not just because of any potential physical threat, but because he builds this whole intellectual case for what he's doing.
He argues his point.
Oh, convincingly.
Yeah.
So much so that you, as the audience, you kind of have to grapple with the argument itself right alongside the characters. It's unsettling on multiple levels.
Okay, so that brings us to the premise. Without giving too much away, what's the basic setup?
All right, so it centers on two young women. They're devoutly religious, specifically Mormon. And through, let's just say, certain circumstances, they end up inside this man's house, Hugh Grant's character's house.
And it becomes a game of cat and mouse.
A very intense one. But it's more than just physical hide and seek. It's essentially a chamber piece.
Chamber piece, meaning mostly one location, lots of dialogue.
Exactly. Almost the entire film unfolds in this house. And it relies heavily, heavily on dialogue and psychological tension. The claustrophobia of the space really amps everything up.
Now that sounds risky for horror. I mean, dialogue heavy.
Hugely risky. We're talking about scenes, David, that are reportedly up to 25 pages long. Just dialogue.
Only 5 pages, wow, in a single scene. That's you just don't see that often, especially not in like a mainstream-ish release.
Almost never at this level. It completely goes against the usual horror pacing. Quick cuts, jump scares.
Yeah.
This is different.
So how do they keep you hooked if it's just talking for that long? Is it just theological debate?
Well, yes and no. It is focused on theological debates. It really digs into arguments about how religions form, the patterns they follow historically, and this idea that they can sometimes keep people sort of confined in a box.
Okay.
But it's not dry. Hugh Grant's character, he uses these really sharp real-world analogies to make his points. Things like comparing religious doctrine to fast food menus or the rules of a board game.
That's clever. Using the mundane to question the profound.
Very. But here's the structural brilliance we mentioned earlier. It's not just talk.
Right. You said the house itself plays a part.
Yes. This is crucial. The theological points, the intellectual challenges he's making, they're mirrored, expanded upon, or even like physically tested by the house itself. The environment becomes part of the argument.
Okay, hang on. So if he's making a point about, say, religious restriction, the house might physically reflect that somehow.
You got it. The physical things happening to the characters, the spaces they're trapped in, they directly connect to the ideas being debated. The house isn't just a backdrop. It's an active participant in the horror, reinforcing the villain's points in a really tangible, often terrifying way.
Wow. That is brilliant structure. It elevates the dialogue beyond just words.
It makes the stakes incredibly high. It's not just about escaping the house physically anymore. It's about whether your entire worldview, your faith, can survive this encounter. The cost of failure is existential.
But it can't just be him lecturing them, right? That won't work either.
No, absolutely not. And that's where Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East come in. Their performances are vital. They don't just crumble.
They push back.
Oh, yeah. They challenge him right back with real conviction. They go toe-to-toe with him, intellectually and emotionally. It's a genuine battle, not a one-sided takedown. They defend their beliefs under immense pressure.
Which must be where that emotionally rich part comes in. You're watching this intense struggle.
Exactly. And you, the viewer, you get caught in it. You obviously don't want anything bad to happen to these young women. They represent innocence and faith here. But the questions he's asking, they're so sharp, so challenging, you almost find yourself on an intellectual level wanting the debate to keep going, even as the danger ramps up. It's deeply conflicting.
That sounds like a very uncomfortable but compelling place to put the audience.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that duality, that tension is what makes a film so powerful. By the time it reaches its conclusion, it manages to land this really devastating point about, well, about the nature of structured belief systems. Most of them, really.
A point about rigidity, you mean?
About foundational rigidity, yeah. And the way it's presented. The arguments laid out, however twisted the source, they're genuinely hard to just brush aside.
Even for people of faith.
I think so. It forces you to think critically. It raises questions that kind of linger. It's intellectual horror just as much as visceral horror, maybe more so.
So Heretic sounds like it's using horror to ask some really big questions.
Absolutely. It's using the genre as a vehicle for some pretty profound philosophical inquiry, which is why we're saying, you know, it's essential viewing, obviously for horror fans, but really for anyone who appreciates sharp dialogue, fantastic acting, and a thriller that actually makes you think.
Beck and Woods took a huge structural risk, and it sounds like it paid off.
Spectacularly. It's masterful filmmaking.
Okay, so a final thought maybe for you listening. Think about how horror settings usually work. Haunted houses, camps, often just spooky locations, right?
Yeah, usually just stages for the scares.
But here, the location is the argument, in a way. It's actively participating in the philosophical fight. That feels like the real game changer with Heretic.
Well said. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Stay tuned for our next video. So in order not to miss our next video, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell next to it to be notified of our next video. And if you liked our program today, like the video.
Thank you for joining us today, and goodbye.
Thank you for joining us today, and goodbye.